On the eastern outskirts of Hwagae Village lies Shinwha Boulevard, a stretch of road drenched in eternal gloom. Few dare tread its path, save for those so desperate they'd risk their lives for salvation or revenge. The boulevard isn't marked on any map, but every villager knows where it begins. The air there is suffocating, heavy with the scent of damp earth and decay. Towering trees line its edges, their gnarled branches forming a canopy so dense it blocks sunlight even on the brightest days. Those who walk Shinwha Boulevard say the shadows whisper secrets that shouldn't be heard. For decades, Hwagae Village has existed under a strange and unyielding curse. The villagers have different names for it: bad fortune, a vengeful spirit, even punishment for sins long forgotten. But whatever it truly is, they all know its effects. Crops fail in fields that should be fertile, families crumble under unimaginable grief. Livestock are born sick or not at all. And worst of all, the boulevard beckons, not by voice or invitation, but through a compulsion no one quite understands. Tae-jun was just a boy when his mother disappeared. She left their hanok in the dead of night, clutching onto an old lantern and muttering strange words as her shadow melted into the gloom. Days later, her body was found near the boulevard's edge. Her face was frozen in terror, her hands bloodied from clawing at the dirt. Tae-jun hasn't spoken her name since, nor has his father, Kyung-soo. Instead, their house, the last one before Shinwha Boulevard reaches the barren fields beyond, has become a fortress. Doors bolted shut, windows covered with layers of newspaper and bamboo mats. But even sacred talismans pinned to every doorframe can't keep the curse at bay. When Tae-jun turned 17, he began sensing things his father refused to explain. Whispers louder than they should be, coming from outside long after darkness fell. Strange, intricate patterns carved into the trees near their garden, as if by invisible hands. And sometimes late at night, Kyung-soo disappearing into the boulevard, his lantern in hand, just like Tae-jun's mother all those years ago. There are rumors about Kyung-soo, whispered so quietly they're barely audible. The villagers never speak directly to him, not anymore. They simply watch from afar, their expressions dark. Some say the curse didn't make Kyung-soo who he is today. They say Kyung-soo himself is the curse. He's the reason for Hwagae's suffering, the source of Shinwha Boulevard's unholy power. Tae-jun has learned to ignore the villagers' stares, their pitying looks, or worse, the sidelong glances of those too afraid to even pity him. But deep down, he knows they might not be entirely wrong. One rainy evening, Tae-jun followed his father into the forest. He had promised himself he wouldn't, but there was something about Kyung-soo's movements that night. A palpable urgency, like he was racing against something unseen. The rain drenched Tae-jun to the bone, but he kept his footsteps light, his breathing steady. They made their way deeper and deeper until the road turned from cobblestone to dirt, the trees twisting unnaturally, as if the boulevard itself had hands that could shape its features. Kyung-soo didn't once look back. He stopped amidst 3 trees carved with winding, grotesque patterns. Before Tae-jun could step closer, his father knelt, digging into the wet earth with his bare hands. He pulled out a box. Inside the box were items Tae-jun couldn't comprehend. Dried flowers that crumbled to ash at the slightest touch, threads woven so thin they looked like strands of smoke, and something else, a photograph. A blurry image of a young woman staring directly at the camera, her expression one of anger, not fear. Kyung-soo's voice cut through the rain. His words weren't directed at Tae-jun, they seemed pulled from somewhere else, from some other conversation spoken in secrecy. "I told you the deal was final," his father said through gritted teeth. "Don't follow me into this place again. I've given enough, they've taken enough." It was the last word. "They," that sent chills down Tae-jun's spine. The next morning, Tae-jun awoke to commotion beyond their gate, screaming and sobbing. He rushed outside where the villagers had gathered in a tight, trembling group. At the center stood Yong-ho, the blacksmith, clutching his daughter, barely 12, in his arms. Her body was limp, her face pale. A faint mark like black smoke curled across her exposed arm. "She went near the boulevard," Yong-ho roared in anguish. "I told her not to go near it. We should burn this place to the ground, destroy everything. I don't care what the spirits do." But the villagers only lowered their heads. Some muttered prayers under their breath. Others twitched nervously, looking toward Kyung-soo's house, waiting, as though expecting him to emerge and issue some kind of explanation. Tae-jun didn't dare move. He was frozen in place, watching Yong-ho's grief and the way the other villagers seemed burdened by a shared history. A history they refused to articulate openly. Their agony wasn't just Yong-ho's. It was collective. Each person had felt the curse in their own way, seen the marks it left on family, friends, and neighbors. They didn't fight against it. They didn't know how. All they could do was wait for the next tragedy and hope it wouldn't consume them entirely. Inside, Tae-jun confronted Kyung-soo. "Tell me what's happening," he demanded, slamming his hands against the wooden table. "Tell me why everyone looks to you whenever someone dies." Kyung-soo didn't answer. His face remained flat, void of emotion. Then slowly, he gestured toward a drawer in the corner. Tae-jun opened it to find more boxes, each filled with similar artifacts, and all of them containing photographs. And though the faces in the photos were different, the eyes of each subject were the same: angry, accusing. "Everything has a price," Kyung-soo said finally. "And the boulevard always collects. And what's the price for us?" Tae-jun's voice cracked, his fury trembling on the edge of despair. "Is that why Mom disappeared? To pay for whatever you traded?" Kyung-soo sighed. "The curse doesn't target families randomly. It takes what it's owed." It was an answer, but it wasn't enough. Tae-jun ran that evening further than he ever had, crashing down paths and over slick rocks until he stood at the heart of Shinwha Boulevard itself. He saw it then. The black threads woven into the air, visible only in certain glances. The trees here bore wounds. Razor-thin scars ran across the bark, through the roots, symbols etched by countless hands, some human, some not. The boulevard wasn't just cursed, it was alive. And its curse didn't just destroy lives, it fed on them. Villagers spoke of agony passed down generationally, fragments of its effects briefly seen every few seasons. Crops that twisted their own roots, homes that would sink below solid ground overnight, laughter that turned into screams without warning. It wasn't madness, it was something deliberately cruel. But Tae-jun wasn't afraid, not entirely. He stood as though daring the boulevard to take him too. Then the whispers came. He didn't hear them through his ears, but through his bones. Thousands of voices layered like fractured glass. All of them beckoned him deeper, demanding. And all of them said the same thing: choose. Did Kyung-soo hear these voices? Did Yong-ho when he lost his daughter? Did Tae-jun's mother choose something vile before she disappeared? These questions earned no answers. They simply circled, intensifying the torment already stabbing at Tae-jun's consciousness. The whispers continued, a relentless murmur that refused to be silenced, forcing Tae-jun to confront the shadows that lurked within him. The boulevard held its victims in an unbreakable grip, feeding on their fears and secrets, weaving them into its eternal tapestry of despair. Hwagae Village, with its silent homes and haunted faces, stood as a testament to a curse that consumed all in its path. The boulevard always made sure debts were paid. Its promise was clear: it would return, and it would demand what was owed. When dawn rose, Tae-jun returned to the villagers, who stared as if he'd emerged from hell itself. For now, he was alive. But the boulevard's toll wasn't complete. Every lingering shadow, every unspoken secret in Hwagae promised to return. Tae-jun would unravel his father's dealings. The villagers would expose what unholy bond tied their fates to Shinwha Boulevard. Because as Tae-jun stood staring at Kyung-soo, a chill sank into his flesh. Nothing about this curse was accidental. The boulevard always made sure debts were paid. Curious how it all ends. What deeper horrors await beyond Shinwha Boulevard? Make sure to subscribe and share. Join us next time as the curse unravels further, revealing what no villager dares to admit.